Good morning and welcome to Focus Friday on this last day of March. I'm here today with Jesse and Chris. I'm going to have them turn their cameras on here in just a second so we can see their wonderful faces. Good morning, Jesse.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing? Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Hello. So today we are going to talk about distinctive insurance. Our distinctive insurance agency was founded in the summer of 2022 as part of the Distinctive Way and the need to provide an exceptional full service real estate experience. We partnered with an amazing insurance company. So we have reputable, knowledgeable, and experienced insurance agents right here in Distinctive Properties and commercial prime properties. So I want to definitely welcome Jesse and Chris to the panel today. Jesse and Chris, can you both kind of give us some experience and some background on how you guys started in insurance and how long you have been in the industry?
Sure, Chris, I'll let you go first.
All right. Well, I've been in the insurance industry about 5 years now. Right out of high school, I was in the military. After that, I was in the oil field and then did some time in construction for about 12 to 17 years total with everything out of the military. Tore up my shoulder and decided I needed to do something a little bit safer. Not a moment too soon. My dad told me that I run my mouth better than I run any kind of equipment. And so sales has been my thing since then. Been doing great with Jesse and I love it here. I should have been doing this the whole time. That's my background. Go ahead, Jesse.
Cool, thanks, Chris. So I've been an agent for 16 years. Started when I was 23, fresh out of college, and people ask me why I chose farmers, and the answer is they were the only people that would give me a shot at the time. So, it's been a great career for me. Started from scratch with 0 policies. My cousin was the first policy I ever sold. Now we've got a big team. We actually were lucky enough to win some trophies the last couple of years. We won Agency of the Year for the entire country out of all 16,000 agencies and farmers in all 50 states. The whole company, they said we were number one in 2020 and 2021. Those are those trophies right there and right there. So you can see that.
Awesome.
Strategically placed for Zoom call, but yeah, so we're pretty proud of that because those were the COVID years and pretty much the hardest years that I was around to run a small business, and we beat everybody in the country during those years. So our agency has been built on working with lenders and realtors from day one. When I was 23, the idea they gave me was just take boxes of donuts to lenders and realtors and pray that they want to work with you and smile pretty and try to get them to work with you. And I've learned how to add a little bit more value than donuts over the years. And so, yeah, that's my background. And we're very grateful to be able to partner with Distinctive Properties team.
Awesome. We all know that an important part of setting up your mortgage and, buying a home includes home insurance. So what should agents educate their clients on this? I know you work closely with lenders, but it's also important for the agent to have a really good kind of overview on this so they can educate their clients. What would you recommend? A couple steps to educate their clients on it.
For sure. I can add some stuff there, and Chris, can fill in whatever I forget. But, a lot of times, when I talk to realtors, they tell me that the lender takes care of the insurance. And that's fine, unless they don't, right? Because it's your deal, right? And so we're all trying to get those deals closed. And I can't tell you how many last minute calls I get from lenders. It's probably half of our business. I got to get a quote on this property. The CD has to go out today at 3 p.m. Otherwise, we're not going to close. And they don't want to call the realtor and talk about that, but they're scrambling because they forgot to do it. And if anything happens, that closing is getting delayed. And so, the thing that I would tell the realtors is really just, even though a lot of times the lenders do a lot of the heavy lifting with insurance, I would keep an eye on it and be more aware of it, because at the end of the day, it can affect your closing and affect the customer's experience. And more so, the insurance industry as a whole in the entire country is getting much, much more difficult. And so, when you're not having problems with something, like if we never had problems with appraisals, we'd be like, appraisals, piece of cake, right? And so a lot of times, I think, well, in the past, I think a lot of realtors have not had a lot of pain involved with insurance, where it's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Insurance is readily available. It's not a high ticket item. In a lot of the states where we're at, like if you're in Texas, your insurance could be $20,000 a year versus Colorado, Idaho, those types of places. So, but there's more pain coming because the insurance industry as a whole, and especially with homeowners insurance, their underwriting guidelines with every single company are tightening up faster than I've ever seen them tighten. And it's because they're losing billions of dollars every month. The inflation has skyrocketed. We all know that, right? Homes have doubled in value over the last couple of years. Well, the cost to rebuild them has done that or more. And so when those claims are happening, they're paying way more than they thought they would, and they're losing a ton of money, and they're just shutting opportunity down. To give you an example, right here in the middle of Grand Junction, over on 25 Road, I insure a large condo association, and it came down to one carrier available in the United States that would take that policy on renewal. Otherwise, hundreds of people were going to be out without insurance, and that affects the purchasability in that neighborhood. If the insurance is canceled, nobody's going to lend on it. I don't know what would have happened with all the current mortgages, but the point is, it's getting a lot harder and it's getting more expensive. And because of that, if you haven't had things pop up with insurance that are affecting your deals yet, you probably will. And I just don't want anyone to be surprised about it. And the sooner the better, because if you have time to look at options, great. But if it's hey, the CD has to go out today, that kind of thing, it's a lot harder. So that would be my main thing is, pay attention to it and get ahead of it. And it doesn't have to be hard. That's what we're here to do, is to make that part easy. We've got 12, 13, 15 homeowners programs that we can run things to. Even though we are farmers agents, we also have the ability to place things through Travelers and Safeco, just like an independent agent would. And we also have access to farmers. And then outside of those, we have access to, a ton of other carriers that we can use. So if it can get insured, we can get it done. But the hard ones take a lot more time. So if you have something, and those are typically the cool properties, right? Like I just got a referral from an agent in Texas on a $25 million house up in the mountains. And it's like, right. Okay, thanks for the referral, but this is going to be a lot of work and it's going to take weeks, to get that done.
Sure.
Sorry for the long-winded answer. Did I
No,
forget
that's
anything?
great. Anything to add to that, Chris?
Yeah, I think the one thing you were kind of around, but didn't actually say is, people, realtors, lenders, everybody, even the clients, they tend to put the insurance on the back door. They on the back side of everything. They don't really think about it at the time until it becomes an issue. And I think we have an amazing opportunity right now to take care of this holistically, and be Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties and the Distinctive Insurance Agent that can offer everything to a certain extent, and help help the client holistically take care of everything all in one shot and be done with it. Get their insurance done, taken care of on the front end, and then be done.
Awesome. And you kind of brought up a good point, Jesse. So if an agent is working with a client and there is a specific home that they're looking at, isn't it good to kind of reach out to you to see if there had been any, policies in place on that home or anything that would, affect the rates as well? So I think it's good that they reach out to you at the beginning of the home buying process. And as the clients are looking, not just at the end.
Yeah, that's definitely something that nobody thinks about. Home claims stick with the home and with you. So if let's, a scenario that we get all the time, right? We got a lot of people in Western Colorado on the call here. People are moving from Denver. They sell their house in Denver. They come over here and buy a house in Grand Junction or Durango or wherever. Well, if you live in Denver, you've had a hail claim in the last couple of years on your home, right? And so that claim is on your history as you personally, and then maybe you're buying a home where a pipe froze and broke, and the combination of those can restrict the options that you have, and you may not know that, while you're making, nobody knows that while they're making offers, until they get a call and they're like, oh my gosh, we can't insure this property. It had a pipe, break 2 years ago, and then I also had a hail claim last year in Denver. I don't see how that matters, but that's underwriting guidelines, and that's not always the case, but it can definitely be a problem. So yeah, anytime you can, again, and that just is, if you get ahead of it, you'll know as quickly as possible. So yeah, great
Awesome.
thing to think about.
Jimmy had a question in the chat. With home values going up, how often are you seeing home values exceeding what their policy covers?
All the time, unfortunately, and that's when insurance companies get sued. The Marshall fires that happened over in the Denver area a year or so ago, where I was in the middle of winter and big fire blazed through and got put out by a snowstorm. Nobody was expecting that, and Colorado puts legislature in place because of things like that. So they forced loss of use to go longer, and also extended replacement costs. So, Jimmy, to answer your question, all the time, people should be evaluating, and it's not something, they're delighted that the value of their home has doubled, but they get angry if the cost of their insurance goes up by $1, and it's like, well, hey, we can't insure your home that's now $500,000 that was 250, and we're delighted about that equity, but we're upset about paying more for insurance. So those are hard conversations that we have with people. But it happens a lot. People don't review, especially if they have, like an online company, and that's where a lot of people fall into problems too. I would say, more often than not, especially with new first-time home buyers, they just get their home insurance with whoever they have their auto insurance with, and typically those are Geico and Progressive. So they're getting it online from sometimes a computer that nobody ever talks to them, and there's not any review process, or in place. So it happens a lot. So definitely, as you're talking to your customers, they should be evaluating that and looking at their endorsements. I mentioned the extended replacement cost. So that means that you have coverage above and beyond, and now that's Colorado law, that you have to have that on every policy, extended replacement cost. But it typically gives you an extra 10 or 20%. What we try to give everybody is an endorsement that's not available through all carriers, but that's guaranteed replacement cost, which is different than replacement cost. Replacement cost, which gets confused a lot, means we're going to build it without depreciation. And that's important with homes because you can't buy a used home, or you can't build a used house.
Right.
Like you can buy a used car, but you can't build a used house, right? So we have to build a new house, even though it was an old house that burned down. But guaranteed replacement cost means we're going to build them a brand new house with no regard to the limit on the policy. So if they were insured for $500,000 and it takes $700,000 to rebuild, no big deal. It's on us. We're going to take care of it. And so we have that available through several of our options, and we try to put that on every policy. But not a lot of companies offer that because it costs them a ton of money whenever, things happen. Farmers is kind of taking the stance. The reason why we do have that is we'd rather just rebuild the home for these people rather than having to battle them in court and have a terrible customer experience. So let's just take care of the customer is really what that endorsement does. So guaranteed replacement cost, not replacement cost, guaranteed replacement cost is what I would tell every single one of my customers to try to get to avoid that scenario.
And that's nice. Kind of falls in line too with our exceptional real estate experience, with really creating value for the client. Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to touch on that a little bit too. It really takes the numbers out of the situation because, like Jesse was saying, we'll offer, and a lot of other companies will offer, 10, 25, or 50% more in extended replacement costs. But this option for us is huge because it really takes those numbers out and it says we're going to replace the home regardless. It's just something that we can do that I don't think very many, if anybody else can do it, and it sets us aside. And I really like to touch on that with all of my clients and make sure people understand that because it is very misconstrued in the industry.
Sure, absolutely. And you are here locally, but just a reminder to all of our agents, you do service all of our areas and all of our offices and even our commercial division. So can you touch a little bit on what the value would be for our commercial agents and their clients as well?
Yeah, for sure. It's the same thing, commercial, I get calls all the time from commercial lenders and realtors. Hey, I've got this buyer and they forgot to get the insurance set up, or, they're a buyer out of California and they thought their broker could do it, but turns out they're not licensed in Colorado or whatever. And so we have to scramble and get them done. But we love commercial property. We're an elite commercial agency with farmers, which means we've got the red phone to the underwriters, and they have to respond to us really quick, and they do things that they don't do for everybody with us. And that's just because we do a lot of commercial insurance. Right here in Mesa County, we've probably got 75% of the multifamily stuff out there insured through our agency. So it's definitely something that we specialize in, know how to do really well. And then also, if you're doing a commercial lease, those policies that those people get that are moving into those buildings that you're managing are almost always messed up when I see them. So I love reviewing commercial policies and picking them apart and showing them, hey, here's all the things you're not covered for, and how did that happen? Well, nobody looked at it, and a lot of times, sometimes they're getting them online, or sometimes they're getting them from not a commercial insurance expert. So we definitely love working with commercial. We can do property, we can do general liability, we can do work comp, pretty much anything that you guys are going to be involved in, we can get it done, and love to do them. So, and also we're not restricted to just farmers with that. Farmers, if they have an option, will be the best option, but if they say no, we can place that with any company out there, and that's what we do all the time.
Okay. And Chris, this one's kind of for you. With being partnered with Distinctive Properties, when you are contacting clients, you're contacting them as Distinctive Insurance Agency. So the client doesn't see the difference. You're part of our company. We have partnered with you. It's just as if you were, sitting here in one of our offices. Can you kind of walk us through when you do reach out to the contacts, how that experience goes, and how you're introducing yourself and what our agents can expect?
Absolutely. I want you guys to know, when I get a referral from Coldwell Banker Properties and I reach out to the clients, I introduce myself and let them know who I am. It's a little bit different than my normal, any kind of referral that would come from a lender or anything. I'm very sensitive to the fact that, these are your clients first, and I don't want to do anything to disrupt that. So there's not going to be any quote unquote hard sales or anything like that. I'm going to ask them about their insurance. I'm going to let them know, I'm going to congratulate them that they're, went under contract, ask them if I could quote their insurance. At that point, I ask them if they have time to give me some information, or if I could shoot them over a link, to fill out some information. Once I get that quote back, again, I really like to play on the comprehensive or the holistic view of this. And, in the cases where I can get accurate information, where I can get a client to allow me to quote them, we have about 75% success rate. I'm writing those. We have a small sample size right now, but I'm writing about 75% of those policies. And when we do, the first thing I like to do is go back and say, well, I'm very glad that Nikki or Amy or Jen got me in touch with you, and we could take care of this for you. Just kind of give back a little bit, make sure they understand that we're one unit, and go from there.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. And then also, this is another thing too, our agents, they can always reach out to you for their insurance needs. It's not just servicing their clients, but You guys are competitive. You guys are, very experienced at what you do, but I also want our agents to know that they're able to reach out to you for their own insurance needs.
Absolutely. And, this comes through, I'm more of a kind of a hybrid kind of agent. I have access to the office, but I do a lot of work from home too. So any of these calls that come through, they come through on my phone. I'm available after hours. I'm available weekends. I'm available holidays. And I extend that to clients as well as agents. If they ever need anything throughout the process, I'm always available.
Awesome. Thank you very much. As the industry kind of changes, any insurance trends that we should be aware of or anything? I know you kind of touched on it at the beginning, Jesse, but anything that, we should keep an eye out for, anything that you can educate us on?
Yeah, absolutely. Just that it's getting harder, and it's just because of inflation, basically, all kinds of inflation is making insurance more expensive. So there's going to be more pain involved with that. You're going to have deals that get held up and messed up if you're not paying attention to the insurance. Also, it's getting harder for the lenders too, because if they're the ones managing it, then they've got this extra burden that they're managing, and it messes up their DTI ratios, right? We all talk about the DTI ratios, but really, what I talk to lenders about, which then flows through to your guys' deals, is it's all about the DTI ratio at the end of the day, whether you're going to close on that property or not. And there's only 4 things that go into that ratio: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, right? And so the principal and interest aren't going to change. The taxes aren't going to change. The insurance, we're the only thing that has any wiggle room. And so when you have a deal that's tight, somebody that's barely qualifying, I would say that is a great cue to say, hey, we should get an insurance quote, as soon as possible, and make sure that it is going to be what it is, because those lenders are guessing what the insurance is going to be when they pre-qualify that home. They don't know if they had a hail claim, 6 months ago. They don't know if, they didn't, look at the house and see that it's built in 1920 and the insurance is going to be super expensive. So they're always guessing. And so, just because the nature of the insurance industry getting harder, there's going to be more times when they've guessed wrong, and they're going to be calling you and saying, hey, the insurance jacked this deal up, because the DTI ratios got messed up. So yeah, just know that my personal policy doubled on the last renewal, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then it even shocked me, but it's just what's happening, and they're doing that. Otherwise they go out of business and pull out of the states, and then nobody can, get insurance and get financing. So, the industry is just getting tougher, and, you just need to have somebody that's on your side that you can call, and that's what we're here to do.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Well, if there's any questions from any agents or any of our MDs or any of our participants, go ahead and feel free to put those in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and add our contact information. So this is the contact information for the Distinctive Insurance Agency. If there is a jot form that you can fill out if you do want to request information about a quote. And again, it's great, agents, for you to educate your clients and just to have an insurance agent in your back pocket so you can call them with questions. And, this is our team. So these are our partners, and this is who we, do business with. And thank you guys so much for joining us today. We really appreciate the information and the connection that we have with you guys. So as always, just reach out if you guys have any questions. If not, we will conclude our Focus Friday and send everybody on their way.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jesse. Good to see you, Chris.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.